Well, welcome to Palace of the Court. My name is Stephen Dawes, and today I'm going to be talking about the game against Nottingham Forest. Now, it was a bit of a break, as we know, before this game, and a lot of people were hoping that we would be able to come into this game with a bit more, perhaps a bit more intensity, perhaps with some of Oliver Glasner's ideas starting to show through. The actual team lineup was pretty similar to what he's put out before. Henderson's was the biggest change because of Sam Johnson's elbow injury. You might have seen in social media he's had his operation. He's now in recovery, but he's going to be up for the rest of the season. So Dean Henderson took over in goal. You've also had Richards, Anderson, and Ward at the back, which are the three that he's gone with most of the time at the moment. Mitchell, Lerma, Wharton, and Munoz again. A very settled line there. Eze and AU in front of them, and Mateta, the guy up front. So it was. It was a good team on paper. I think it's probably the best team that we can put out on paper in terms of experience and things like this. Obviously, Wharton is new to the Premier League. He's only played a couple of games or so, but he's certainly an old head on young shoulders. So that was the team lineup that we started off with, and it was one of those games where I kind of knew that it was going to be a tough game because Nottingham Forest, we haven't really done very well against them for a couple of years or so at least, and also with the points deduction they're going to be wanting to come out fighting to try and stay in the Premier League. So there was a lot to play for in this game, and I have to say that it kind of played out a bit like that. In terms of how many, in terms of the way that we played, I think we played quite well for the majority of the game. We started the game quite well. I thought that we were on the front foot. We were trying to get things working. Nottingham Forest were trying to get into their rhythm, trying to get past us and trying to work into their usual channels, but I felt that we did well. I thought we were quite regimented, quite structured in the way that we were playing. I felt that we had a bit of a purpose as well. And I thought that the first half especially we were trying to make things happen, trying to get forward, and very soon after the first whistle, on 11 minutes, we actually got a goal. It was absolutely great. It was a great little pass by Lerma into the feet of Eze, and then it got crossed in. He crossed it across into the path of Mateta, who smashed it into the back of the net. A really good goal, and you can tell that Mateta is on his form now. You can see that he's growing in confidence because he's put that away quite well. He's really becoming a lot more confident. He's lasting the whole game now. He's not being substituted off, and yeah, he was tired towards the end, but I think he played incredibly well and held up the ball again, as he always has been doing lately. So I thought he had a good game, and that point we were 1-0 up, and I thought that we kind of had the game in pretty good condition at that point, and from that point onwards we were trying to create a few chances, and we were creating chances. There were some very good attacks at goal that really on another day we should have been putting away, and that was the biggest takeaway from this game, is the fact that we didn't take the chances we had early on in the first half. I think if we had done that, I think it would have been a very different situation for us. But anyway, we did have chances in that rest of that first half, but we didn't put them away. Second time we came out, and I thought we played quite well. There were times when we were sitting back a little bit and not inviting pressure, but we were kind of being pegged back a little bit by Nottingham Forest. But in general terms, I felt that we were quite good this time, and have been under Glasner, of not just sitting back. We did try to get forward, and when we got the ball, we were trying to make things happen. And even towards I think it was the 80 odd minute, we were pushing forward, trying to get another goal. So I felt that was a good part of it, because obviously you want to spend as much time up in their half as possible. You don't really want to be spending time defending your own half. So I felt that from that point of view, we're getting better at doing that. We're getting better at taking the game to players, to teams, even though it might be a very close game. We were still trying to push for another goal. Unfortunately, though, it didn't work out like that, because on 61 minutes, Chris Wood got a goal, and it was a little bit of a lucky goal. I'm going to say that. Yes, it was a good goal. It was put into the box, and Chris Wood's got a kind of a head onto it, and it kind of looped upwards and over Henderson into the back of the net. Now, some people have blamed Henderson for this. I'm not entirely sure that I would agree with that, mainly because I think that yes, he was off his line, but he wasn't in no man's land necessarily. I think that he wasn't necessarily expecting what Chris Wood was going to do. I don't even think Chris Wood was necessarily expecting what he was going to do, and it went in the back of the net. And I think that he was limited in where he could go, so I think it was just one of those goals that went in that wasn't necessarily being expected, but it made it 1-1. And I think at that point, previously, perhaps before Glasner, we would have capitulated a little bit. We would have got a little bit tired, or got a little bit concerned, started to sit back a little bit more, maybe invited a bit more pressure. But we didn't do that necessarily in this game. We kind of still try to play our way, still try to to keep the shape that we normally have, still trying to play in those little pockets, still trying to back each other up when they had the ball or when they didn't have the ball. And that was good to see. I felt that we were doing that quite well. One of the problems that we do have at the moment, and obviously the situation will change when we get players back, we just don't have the pace in the team. If you get the ball forward, we've got Eze, and Munoz is quite quick, but we don't have the pace to kind of chase the ball and run after the ball. So if Eze gets the ball, for example, we don't have a lot of players who can run up past him or with him to back him up. And of course that also is the same situation when you're on the counter attack. If they've got the ball and they're trying to run at you, we need a bit more pace to get back into the position that we are in. But I felt that it was a game that we should have won. We had the chances, we should have taken them, we didn't, and unfortunately for that reason, the game ended 1-1. I felt that we could have, and again, another positive is that we didn't concede a late goal, which is something we've done a number of times. We managed to see the game out. I was a little bit concerned the last 5 minutes, but we did manage to see the game out, and we did a good job of that. So I felt that was another positive that we can take away from this. Yes, we should have got the 3 points. I think we deserved the 3 points in general, but you have to take away from the fact that you're playing Nottingham Forest, who are a difficult team to play against, and a team that we've not been very good at playing against in the past. So to get a point from that team is good for us, I think, and it's a point more closer to safety. So that's the kind of takeaway that I'm getting from this. In terms of the players, I felt that AU again was very good. I thought that he played really well, ran all over the pitch as he always does. Wharton had another fantastic game. I felt that he played incredibly well. He's very good at seeing these little passes and things like that. He's very good with the basic passes. He's also good with the longer passes, the more technical ones. So I think he's blossoming into a really good player for us, definitely. I felt Mateta played well, usual hold-up play and trying to get involved. I felt that he did well. Eze, we saw flashes of good and bad from Eze. Not bad necessarily, but there were good flashes from Eze, and there were periods when he kind of drifted out of the game. Maybe he's not completely fully fit at the moment. That's probably the reason for it. But he did do okay. He's one of those players where he can easily pop up and cause a problem for you. And he did get very close to scoring a goal. So his contribution was good. I think just sometimes he kind of drifted out of the game a little bit. In terms of everyone else, I thought they played well. Munoz, who we were worried might be injured, he played. In terms of the substitutions, some people are not necessarily having a go at Oliver Glasner, but are concerned or confused as to why he's playing. He's playing Will Hughes and he's playing Nathaniel Klein and things like that. And I think one of the reasons is because he hasn't really got a lot of other choice. I mean, yes, he's got younger players, he's got David Ozo and players like that in the squad, but he's not using them. And and one of my thoughts on this is that Roy used them occasionally, but not all the time. Glasner at the moment has not used them, and that makes me think that maybe they're both seeing the same thing. Maybe then they've both seen something that at the moment is stopping them going into the first team proper, being a starter for the team. Maybe they both identified something that needs to be worked on. So at the moment all he's got is Nathaniel Klein, Will Hughes, and players like that, and Jeffrey Schlupp, who came on, who didn't have a bad game, but it wasn't setting the world alight, but he didn't have a bad game. Will Hughes was okay again. He was trying to firm up the midfield. It's just these aren't players that are necessarily going to change the game for you, but we don't have any of those at the moment, at least not on the bench. We have young players who can do it, but you've got to be careful with young players, and I think some people forget that these are very young players. I mean, a lot of people have said, why is Wharton keep getting substituted. You can see by the last 10 minutes of when he's playing, he's getting very tired. His legs get heavy. You can see it, and he's a young guy. We need to protect him. If we don't protect him, then he's going to start to suffer injuries because he's being worked too hard. He's still young. We have to, we have to give these players time to, well, especially in terms of Walton, adjust to the Premier League pace and things like that. He's demanding a lot of these players. He's demanding more intensity. So it's going to be a case of trying to manage that. Otherwise, we're going to add to our injury list even further. So I think that, people just need to remember where we are and where we are in terms of what we've got available. Because I think that's the key thing. I think that, we're not going to be turning into a really good team overnight because we don't have all of our personnel back, which makes us a really good team. So I think that we just need to manage this. I think it's just a case of managing it to the end of the season, not getting relegated, and then starting again in the pre-season. I think that's what Glasner's doing. I don't think he's out there to win trophies or to to climb up the table. I think this season, I think he's just setting it out that I'm just going to protect what we've got, build from what we can on what we've got, and then from next season we can start on that. So that's my thoughts anyway. I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section. What do you think about the situation? What do you think about the game? What do you think about the substitutions? And where do you think we're going to go from here? Obviously, we've got a game on Tuesday, I think it is. So that's going to be interesting for us because we're going to need to get some points there. I think we really do need to get some points there, but we'll have to wait and see. Let me know down in the comment section what you think, as always, and I'll see you next time.